Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a cinematic journey straight through the mechanics of money. We're going from ruthless 19th century monopolies all the way to how AI has literally put wealth creation right in the palm of your hand.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because, to really understand where wealth is heading today, we first have to understand how it was historically centralized. The source material we're unpacking kicks off with a pretty provocative question about the systems that govern our daily lives, and it points directly to one major historical figure, John D. Rockefeller. Now, the source presents a really detailed analysis of his immense systemic influence, looking at everything from our classrooms to our medicine cabinets. We're going to look at these claims with strict impartiality, examining exactly how the source describes this blueprint of modern centralization.
The source details Rockefeller's surprisingly humble beginnings. Born back in 1839 in a tiny town, his father, who actually went by the nickname Devil Bill, was a transient figure who literally sold colored water to people, claiming it was medicine. It's kind of wildly ironic when you think about the very real, tangible empire his son would eventually build. Young John grew up in a household that often faced hunger and cold, but there was this one deeply formative moment. As a 16-year-old bookkeeper, John held a $4,000 check for his company. He actually memorized the safe's combination just so he could hold that check, deeply internalizing the physical feeling of wealth, and basically vowing right then and there to become rich.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this exact number, $72,500. Fast forward to 1865. The oil boom had hit, but while everyone else was out there wildly digging for oil, black gold, a 25-year-old Rockefeller realized the real wealth wasn't actually in the drilling. It was in the refining process. Because whether a driller struck oil or went completely bankrupt, that oil still had to be refined. So at an auction to buy out his business partner, while bids were just creeping up by the hundreds, Rockefeller aggressively dropped a $72,500 bid. He shocked the entire room and won the business. And that singular moment, that birthed his empire.
He formed Standard Oil, and according to the source, he didn't just compete, he engineered a total monopoly through sheer tactical ruthlessness. He'd go to the railroad companies and promise them a massive 60 carloads of freight daily. In exchange, he demanded these secret discounts on his transport, while all his competitors were stuck paying full price. And it gets crazier. The rail companies actually fed him inside information on exactly where his competitors were shipping and at what price. Armed with all this data, he'd approach his rivals, show them their own losing numbers, and just offer to buy them out. The speed of this was terrifying. In one astonishing 48-hour period in 1872, he crushed and absorbed 22 competing companies. He ended up controlling 90% of U.S. oil. It literally took an investigative journalist named Ida Tarbell spending 2 whole years exposing these secret rebates and spy networks to finally bring the monopoly to light.
But here is the ultimate, almost unbelievable twist of centralization. Even when the U.S. Supreme Court ordered the complete breakup of Standard Oil into 34 separate companies in 1911, the story didn't end there. Rockefeller was reportedly out playing golf when he heard the news. His reaction? He simply advised buying the new stocks. The combined stock prices of those 34 new companies ended up doubling, and because he held the largest share in all of them, by 1916, John D. Rockefeller became the world's first confirmed billionaire. He held an estimated $1 billion at a time when the average American earned about $800 a year. Let that sink in for a second.
But the source material argues that his wealth wasn't just financial, it was systemic. Back in 1902, Rockefeller established the General Education Board. The source points to public documents from this board, impartially quoting their stated goals. The quote you're seeing highlights a deeply utilitarian view of education. The idea wasn't to create philosophers or independent thinkers. The source asserts this board was designed to systematically create an education system meant to produce obedient, efficient factory workers. Basically, a workforce management model designed to just maintain the industrial machine.
So the crucial point is how this systemic control allegedly extended to healthcare. The source details the 1910 Flexner Report, which was funded by the Carnegie and Rockefeller Foundations. This report evaluated 155 medical schools and effectively led to the shutdown of non-patentable natural and herbal medicine practices. Why? Well, the source asserts that Rockefeller realized his petroleum could be used to create pharmaceutical drugs, which, crucially, could be patented. According to the analysis, this engineered a highly profitable petroleum-based pharmaceutical monopoly, shutting down natural remedies simply because they couldn't be controlled or patented.
We've seen how the old systems of wealth operated, right? Capital-heavy, aggressively centralized monopolies controlled by incredibly powerful gatekeepers who, according to the source, actively engineered society to support their empires. But here is where our source material completely flips the script. We are stepping into today's landscape. The sources reveal that the massive, intimidating gates built by those tycoons have been entirely bypassed. Artificial intelligence has handed the power of wealth creation directly back to you, the individual. It's totally decentralized, it requires zero code, and it has instant global reach. Let's look at exactly how people are doing this right now.
Let's examine the first modern hustle detailed in our sources: the incredibly lucrative market of selling digital planners on Etsy. Now, people used to make six-figure income selling these clunky Google Sheets with 50 to 100 pages that required all this manual data entry. But that era is completely dead. Today, the source explains how AI has replaced those tedious spreadsheets with just incredible speed. Individuals are using AI models like Claude to create sleek, responsive, interactive mini web apps. These operate directly right in your browser. There's no installation, no registration required. It just provides a massively superior user experience.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because the steps are surprisingly simple. First, you literally just ask Claude AI what planner types are trending right now. Our source used a budget planner as the prime example. Next, you use what the source calls vibe coding. You just give Claude a conversational prompt asking it to generate a complete front-end HTML web app. You specifically request smooth animations and, crucially, a demo data button so new users can instantly see how it works. You write exactly 0 lines of code. Finally, you use Canva and AI image generators to create these high click-through rate mockups to make your Etsy listing look incredibly professional. And just like that, you have a software product ready to sell.
But creating the product is really only half the battle. The source highlights a brilliant customer service tactic to ensure this automated income stream doesn't just completely dry up from bad reviews. When the customer buys the app, you also provide a comprehensive README file. Inside that file is a link to an unlisted 6-minute YouTube video tutorial. This guides the buyer exactly on how to load the demo data, input their own numbers, and navigate the app. By ensuring users easily understand the tool, you prevent frustration, you secure those amazing 5-star Etsy reviews, and you ensure this automated income stream keeps flowing.
Now, if selling $14 planners seems maybe a little too small for you, our source material introduces a second, even more lucrative modern strategy. And this is where things get really interesting. We are talking about running a global web development agency entirely from your smartphone, using completely free AI tools. You don't need an office, you don't need a massive team of developers, and you don't even need to know how to program a single thing.
The strategy is highly actionable. You open Google Maps and you target real businesses in high-value markets, like the US. Say, for example, a high-end restaurant called The Modern. You copy their Google Maps link and you paste it directly into Claude AI with a super simple prompt: create an elegant luxury website for this restaurant. The AI instantly codes a full HTML website featuring a beautiful hero section, an about page, the menu, and contact details, all based on the public info it pulled from that map link. You download that HTML file, find the restaurant on Instagram or WhatsApp, and you pitch them this beautiful, completely ready-made website directly to their social media.
And this brilliantly illustrates the immense leverage of the modern era. The source points out that just one successful pitch of this AI-generated website can easily net a $500 profit. Think about that. A website that took you literally minutes to generate using a free tool on your phone can yield a massive return. And thanks to modern financial infrastructure, that payment is easily transferred across borders via platforms like Payoneer or just directly into a local bank account. You are effectively operating a borderless, high-margin software agency straight from the palm of your hand. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway of this explainer. The mechanics of wealth have undeniably shifted. We started by looking at the ruthless gatekeeping of 19th century tycoons, men who crushed competitors, manipulated transport, and, according to the source, systematically altered education and medicine just to maintain their total grip on capital. But today, those gates have been completely obliterated. The limitless potential that used to require a billion-dollar monopoly now sits in the hands of absolutely anyone with a smartphone and an AI prompt. The tools are free, the distribution is global, and the old gatekeepers are gone. The gates to wealth are wide open. The only question left is, what will you build?